So next is single constitution. I was discussing single constitution means India has a single constitution. Indian states do not have their separate constitutions as it is the thing in USA. In USA, every state has its own constitution apart from the national constitution. But in India, no state has its own constitution and no state can have its own constitution. There is only one constitution of the central government, that is one constitution of India. Okay, constitution of India, that is a single constitution. This point will go in favor of unitary government, because I told you that every point here in unitary feature will go in favor of center. So single constitution is there, it means this constitution basically belongs to the central government. Okay, although state governments also derive their powers from this constitution, but when the states cannot have their own constitution, they are the sufferers. Basically, they have to derive their powers from the constitution, which is Indian constitution. So this point also goes in favor of the central government. So in nutshell, we can say we have a single constitution in India. Next point is flexibility of the constitution. Here is the point that is opposite of the rigid constitution which was there in this federal features. In unitary features, the point is flexible constitution. Flexible constitution here simply means that the amendment process here is easy. For example, I told you that to create a new state, to merge two or more states, to change the boundaries of any state or two or more states, to change the names of one state or more states, it is done simply by an amendment which is very easy to be passed. Okay, so in this thing the constitution is very flexible. Flexible means the amendment process here is very easy. Okay, when the amendment process is easy, we say that the constitution is flexible, but when the amendment process is difficult, we say that the constitution is rigid. So in federal features, the constitution becomes rigid. In unitary features, the constitution becomes flexible. But in nutshell, when we do the salient features of the constitution, what we say is our constitution is both rigid and flexible. It simply means that in some areas our constitution is flexible, that is amendment process is easy. In some areas amendment process is rigid, that is constitution is rigid. Okay, that is amendment process is difficult. Okay, so moving to the next point, no equality of states, no equality, no equality of state representation. This point means that in Rajya Sabha, the number of seats from every state differs. It means that in our Rajya Sabha, that is House of States, the representation of different states is not equal. For example, UP has more representation in the Rajya Sabha, whereas Kerala has less representation in the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so basically the states having larger population have larger representation in Rajya Sabha, or we can say states having larger population have more number of these representatives in the Rajya Sabha, and vice versa. Means smaller population states like Kerala have less representatives in the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so this is the thing in India. I again repeat that no equality of state representation. Okay, so states have no equality in the Rajya Sabha. But what is the process in USA? In USA there are 50 states, and every state has 2 representatives in the Senate of USA. So in American Senate there are 100 members, because there are 50 states and there are 2 members from each state which represent in the Senate. So American Senate is equally good for the states. we can say that in America states have equal representation in the Senate. Okay, but in India it is opposite. In India states do not have equal representation in the Rajya Sabha. India's Rajya Sabha and America's Senate is same. Okay. Next is emergency provisions. Now we know that in India there are various types of emergencies. Okay, external emergency, internal emergency, financial emergency. When a financial emergency is imposed in the country, sorry, not financial, but any emergency is imposed, is promulgated by the president in the country does not remain a federal system. It becomes a unitary system. And you know that in a unitary system only the centers will prevails. The states will does not prevail. Okay. In fact, the states become only the departments of the center. Okay, they do not have any say when the emergency is in progress. Okay, so this point again goes in favor of center, because when the emergency provision is there in the country, when emergency is promulgated by the president in the country, the states become non-existent. Okay, the states will become non-existent. Only the central will prevail. I talked about state list, concurrent list and union list. Here the subjects of the state list, okay, subjects of the state list are handled by the center in the time of emergency. Got my point? I mean to say that when an emergency is promulgated in India, the state list cease to exist. I mean the state subjects are dealt with by the center only. So there is, everything comes in the hands of the central government. Next is single citizenship. We in India have single citizenship. We do not have dual citizenship like in America. In America there is dual citizenship. Every state has its own citizenship and the citizen also have American citizenship. Okay, but in India we have single citizenship. We do not have dual citizenship. Okay, earlier we used to have a dual citizenship in J&K, but now that is gone. The J&K has been turned into a union territory now. So the citizenship or whatever it was state subject, it has gone now, and now even the J&K citizens have a national citizenship only. They do not possess dual citizenship. So every Indian has a single citizenship, that is he or she is a citizen of India. Next point is integrated judiciary. Integrated judiciary simply means that Supreme Court, High Court and lower courts are integrated with each other. They are not separate from each other. It is not so that Supreme Court belongs to the center and High Court belongs to the state. It is not so. High Court, Supreme Court and lower courts belong to judiciary, and judiciary is integrated. Okay? Like High Court do not belong to the state governments. So High Courts come from where? The High Court judges, like they have to report to whom? The High Court judges, like who is the superior of the High Court? The superiors of the High Court, the superior of the High Court is Supreme Court, not the central government, not the state government. Okay? So High Court is integrated to the Supreme Court, and the lower courts are district courts. Okay? So lower courts are also integrated with the high courts. So basically Supreme Court, High Court and lower courts are three integrated units, are basically three units which are integrated to one another, and that is, we say that they are integrated to each other. Integration is there. So judiciary in our country is totally integrated. Next point is All India services. A very important point. All India services, basically we have three types of All India services, that is IAS, IPS and IFS. Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service and Indian Forest Service. Okay, mind you here, Indian Foreign Service is not an all India service, it is a central service. Okay, so we have three all India services: IAS, IPS, and IFS. Here IFS means Indian Forest Service. Okay, these services, like the people who are recruited to these services are recruited by the central government. They are trained by the central government, but they are allotted to different state cadres. Okay, for example, if you will become IS or IPS tomorrow, you will be recruited by UPSC, which belongs to the central government. You will be trained by the central government institutions. Okay, and for example, Sardar Vallabhbhai Academy of IPS, okay, and all that. So you will be trained by the central government, but you will be allotted to different states. For example, one person will get one state, okay. One person will get J&K, one person will get Punjab, one person will get Rajasthan, okay. Athar Amir from J&K got Rajasthan, Tina Davi got Rajasthan cadre, okay, and they will have to serve in Rajasthan only. The person which gets a particular state in his career, he will serve in that state only for his whole career. Okay. Apart from the deputations which are also given, when a person is on deputation, he serves in Delhi also or some other central level. Okay. We will do that in detail later on. For now, you have to just understand this, that All India Services is a feature of unitary feature. Okay. So coming to the next point, integrated audit machinery. You have to know that we have a CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Okay, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, who conducts the audit of all the things which come under different departments. So he is the head, CAG. Now CAG has its different branches in the states also and the central also. He is also, all these branches which are in the states and the central government, all these are also integrated like the judiciary, like states, like high courts and Supreme Court are integrated. Similarly, the CAG branches all over India are integrated together. Okay, so we have a integrated audit machinery, right? Next point is parliamentary authority over state list. In India, the state list, I already told you, belongs to the state, but when a state passes a bill in its legislature, that bill is subject to the assent of the governor of the state, but the governor can place that bill for the consideration of the President of India. Okay? So ultimately, the states which pass the bills, those bills are subject to the approval of the central government. This point is very important, and it again goes into the favor of the central government. The moot point here is the central government does not want any state to pass a bill without its knowing it. Okay? So governor is there to watch that what bill is being passed by the state legislature, and if the governor is satisfied, he can give his assent. If he is not satisfied, he can place that bill for the consideration of the president, and when the president will be satisfied, he will give his assent, or when he will not be satisfied, he will not give his assent. So state bills are also to the scrutiny of the central government. Okay, coming to the next point. Appointment of governor. Appointment of the governor here means it is again a unitary feature, although I have written it here because the space was not there. That is why I have written it here. Appointment of governor. Now the central government appoints a governor for the state government. Okay, this person, the governor, is the central government's choice. the central government can appoint anybody as the governor of that state. Now, basically here, the role of the governor is dual. The governor has a dual role to play. One is to head the state administration, that is to see whether what type of bills are being passed by the state government, what type of works are being done by the state government, and second role of the governor is being an agent of the central government to report to the central government what type of administration is being done by the state government. Okay, so because the distance between central government and state government is there, so this governor bridges that difference between the central government and the state government, because the chief minister may not disclose everything to the prime minister. Okay, but when the governor is there, the governor will tell everything to the prime minister or the president. Okay, so this point, appointment of governor, again goes in the favor of unitary features. It is a unitary feature of Indian constitution. Next point is integrated election machinery. Election machinery in our country is also integrated. Okay, the Election Commission of India is overall in charge of the elections. It conducts each and every election, president's election, the central government's election, the state government's elections. Okay, so what type of election is not conducted by the Election Commission of India is local government, that is panchayat and municipal elections. So who conducts these panchayats and municipal elections in the state? So in a state government we have a separate election commission for that purpose. So J&K also has a separate election commission, like every state has a separate election commission for conducting its elections to this corporation, municipal corporations and panchayats. So here Election Commission of India will not come into play. Election Commission of India will hold the elections of the central government, state governments and the president and vice president and all that, right? So next point is veto over state bills. Veto, what is this word? V-E-T-O. Veto means blocking. If the state has passed a bill, the central government can veto it. Veto means block it. The president may refuse to give his assent. The president may not give his assent. I already told you that governor can place a state bill in front of the president for the president's assent. So here I mean to say that the central government has complete veto power over the state bills. Okay, so this is the last point. This was the last point of this unitary features. So I think unitary features are clear to you. We will end this lecture here. If you will have any queries, you can tell me. Okay, and we will move to the next topic tomorrow. Thanks.